After your narrow escape from the volcano, you mull over what you learned at the summit. The truth about the dragon and the medicine, what the Ivory Order and Sherwin are actually after, and Vince's dying warning about Dragon Tear destroying the world. You decide to return to the village of the sick to try and make sense of everything. I'm exhausted, says Riddis. She certainly looks it. Bruno is silent and looks deep in thought. As you head into the village after your friends, another headache splits your skull. This place. Something about it is triggering a memory that feels like it's trying to claw its way out of your brain. Let's rest up at the inn, suggests Melanie, taking in everyone's state. You must fancy yourself quite the eccentric coming here, the innkeeper drones, as if incensed by your very presence. Stay if you want to stay, the innkeeper continues, utterly disinterested in even attempting to sell you on a room. At dinner time, you and your friends gather around the table. For a while, it's quiet. But then Melanie speaks up. Now that the dragon's been defeated, she says, what are we going to do? In truth, the Ivory Order wanted to capture the dragon alive, but Sherwin killed him. You can't help feeling the Ivory Order is still hiding something about this island, the dragon and the medicine. We might want to look into this island a bit more, suggests Melanie. Bruno agrees with you. They call this place Mount Medica. Something tells me there are still secrets to uncover. Whether you go after the Ivory Order or investigate the island, first and foremost, you need information. The Overseer should be pretty knowledgeable about the island, reasons Melanie. You decide to pay a visit to the Overseer after a good night's rest. Selfor, the village headman come overseer, comes out to welcome you. After detailing what happened atop the volcano, you ask him to tell you everything he knows about this island. So, the dragon's tears are the medicine's main ingredient, he muses. You ask Selfor if the medicine is made on this island. After a moment, he begins speaking in a quiet voice. He tells you about the medicine factory here on the island that the Ivory Order oversees, and that this village was founded in order to provide a steady supply of human test subjects for their new medicine. Now that you know the truth about the island and the village, you turn to Selfor and pose further questions. Probing further, you ask, have the Ivory Order forced the dragon to make medicine at that factory? I'm almost positive they did, he replies. That explains why the Order wanted to capture him, says Bruno, understanding dawning on his face. But if that's the case, why did Sherwin flout the Order and kill the dragon? You're still missing the final piece of this puzzle. What do you mean, testing new medicine, you ask? Silfor explains that before the Ivory Order sends any of its medicines out to the greater world, they test them here first. With all the new medicines they're constantly prescribed, the villagers here suffer strange side effects. All except Silfor, who says he's exempt from the tests on account of being in charge of the village on the Order's behalf. Sometimes we get people who try to escape, he says, his gaze dropping. The Order always catches them. This is horrible, says Melanie, a harrowed look on her face. You know the abandoned house at the western edge of the village? Well, once upon a time, a family of 4 lived there. As Silfor speaks, you feel all the blood drain from your body. There's something I'd like to see for myself at that house, you say, your brow creased. At the uncharacteristically somber look on your face, Melanie, Riddis, and Bruno give silent nods. You stand before the dilapidated house. It looks like no one's lived here for a long, long time. You open the door and go inside, your gaze roving across the dusty space. Your eyes land on a progression of horizontal notches on the lower section of a support beam, markings to measure a child's growth. And carved into the beam beside the markings are your and Mars' names. Seeing your names unleashes a flood of memories you hadn't realized you'd kept locked away. trauma of what happened, combined with the effects of the medicine, spurred the loss of your memories. But now you remember the horror in full detail. Sobbing, you gather Mar in your arms. Melanie, Riddis, and Bruno just stand there in silence, absorbing the truth of your origins. Melanie, who knows all too well the pain of losing your parents, turns to you with tears on her cheeks. We have a lot in common, you and I. That's how we've made it this far together, she says softly. Her kindness moves you, but you shake your head. You've still got farther to go. As painful as those memories are, something the Ivory Order disciples said gave you hope. If you can get your hands on an undiluted solution of Dragon Tear, you can restore Mar to her human form. And what was that about the place they called the Mausoleum? That's probably a good enough place as any to start looking for Dragon Tear. Melanie doesn't miss the determination that blooms on your face. Whatever it is you need to do, she says, I'm with you. There is nothing you need to buy, so you pass by without paying it any mind. A bizarre rock appeared. It seems primed to explode. The bizarre rock transformed into a gold rock. A giant boulder impedes the path. You stop, unable to go any farther. But when you turn around, who do you see but the Ivory Order trio? In a flash, you draw your weapons, but Hedwyn calls out, "Wait." Unlike the other times you've crossed paths, the trio doesn't seem keen on fighting you. You lower your weapons in response. Conveniently, you've got some questions for them anyway. You demand to know what the Ivory Order wants. There's no reason to hide it any longer, begins Hedwyn. He tells you of the immense fortune the Order amassed by selling the medicine they forced the dragon to make on this island. And he confirms recapturing the dragon was the Order's true goal. The dragon's imprisonment on this island was a secret only the upper echelons of the Order were privy to. Even Queen Nilla didn't know. You ask where the mausoleum is. Coincidentally, says Hedwyn, that is exactly where we are bound as well. Atop the volcano, Sherwin swore to destroy that place. Hedwyn says he was talking about the mausoleum. Winifred ponders the question of why Sherwin would betray the Order and kill the dragon. Alas, we cannot get to the mausoleum with this in our way, Hedwyn says, gesturing to the giant boulder. Upon closer examination of the boulder, you see fissures spidering along its surface. Perhaps it was weakened by the earthquake caused by the volcano erupting. With the right approach, you might be able to force your way through after all. For whatever reason, you ask Ridis to break. She takes out her book to see if there's anything about boulder smashing in there. Somehow, you doubt the tome covers that subject. You ask Melanie to work her magic on the boulder, literally. She summons up a great flame, but all it does is leave scorch marks on the stone. You think of asking Mar to break through the boulder, but you stop short, worrying she could hurt her precious hand. He squares off in front of the giant stone and strikes the fissure with a mighty knife-edged chop. Silence rings for a moment before the boulder crumbles to dust. The Ivory Order trio offers a curt thanks before hurrying on ahead. The jerks.